At the end of today's story, a lot of you are going to be shaking your head, wondering how in the world could they have missed that. But before we get into today's story,
I'm already shaking my head. Hey, how did they miss that? I'm already doing it. Chat, I always wonder, like, you guys think Mrballen one day will just, like, copyright my entire channel? You think that'd happen? You think he's that kind of guy? That'd be funny as shit. How would that be funny? How would that be funny? Haha, your entire channel shut down.
Cringe.
Thank you so much, Trucker Megan. Nice name. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for the tier 1 sub. Can he really take down a whole channel? I mean, I have... How many videos do I have on my channel? Of him. Do Ghost Brothers? No. We've already done that. Of him, specifically. We have... this one. This one. I thought I had more than that. This one. This one. This one. Like 5. 5 or 6. Yeah. So technically, if you wanted to, he could shut down my whole channel whenever he felt like it. It's got hit with 3 one-minute ads. I'm sorry, guys. I had to do it to him. Channel right now. He busy balling at the basketball court. Dude, I feel like he's a good guy. I feel like he wouldn't do that to me. I don't know. I do not have any DMCA strikes. I mean, the dude's probably loaded, you know? Like, he gets like 4 mil a video. Like, is he really worried about someone as small as me? All right.
The strange, dark, and mysterious
Without further interruption,
story.
let's celebrate and suck some dick.
Whoa! What? Yeah, whoa! Where did that come from? Holy shit! All right. All right. All right. I see you. I see you. I see you. All right. You know what that means, chat. Been a fan for a long time. Thank you so much, Trucker Mate. Holy shit. God damn, dude. Well, there you have it. That's 30. That's 30 stars, ladies and gentlemen. That means I have to buy a freaking IRL backpack. I wonder if I could find a way to make one myself. Shit, I need to do movie night too. What's 30 stars again? IRL backpack. For those who don't know what an IRL backpack is, basically what it is I could stream anywhere I want. I could go to Niagara Falls. I could go to Grand Canyon. I could go make coffee beans. I could take you guys anywhere, and we could stream it. No limits to where we can go. We can go to McDonald's, chat. We go camping. No, I'm gonna stream myself doing the most mundane things in the world. Literally grocery shopping or some shit. if I can't fit my Lunchables in my IRL backpack, then what can I do? True. I also got to go open my PO box. I paid for it. I just need to go down there and like give him my ID. I need to do that. All right. Well, thank you, Megan.
Format, and you've come to the right place because that's all we do, and we upload 2 or 3
Take us
times
with you
every
when you
week.
shit.
So
Okay.
if that's of interest to you, please offer to make the like button a sandwich of their choosing, but when you build it, make it between 2 very thin, stale. In 2006, Heather Kwan was a 21-year-old college
Take us to
student
Olive
living in the
Garden.
small residential town of Desert
Oh, yeah,
Hill.
and VR stream. VR stream this week. I'll set up VR's. Oh, wait, I got to wait. Before we continue, I have to freaking change my sub amount. How big is a backpack? It's very small. It's not cumbersome at all. It's very streamlined and small. That's why I wanted to buy one. Because making a homemade one is cheaper, but it's probably more bulky, depending on what I get. That's been at 400 for a long time now. I know. That's why I'm going to change it. I forgot. Is it this one? Wait. Oh, that's the desk. Oh, that's why. That's my other overlay. I have too many overlays. I need to just like have one. That's my only complaint about Stream Elements. Goal 600. We're going for the stars, baby. All right. It's been fixed. All right.
Hills in Arizona. From a very young age, Heather was someone who always seemed to give her friendship to the people who needed it the most. People who were hurting on the inside, or who society had kind of forgotten about. This is why when she was a teenager and a young adult, she would often spend her weekends volunteering her time with underprivileged children. It's also why she aspired to go to law school and become a
Didn't you
defense
say
lawyer,
chair stream at
because she
500
loved the
subs? How do you even remember that? That was like 2 months ago. You've literally like had that written down on an alarm every single morning. Oh, yeah, that's time to remind Pig about the 500 subs. What you want a chair stream that bad? Chair plays VR. All right. Okay, fine. One day I won't stream at all. It's just going to be a stream of just the chair. How about a stream of just the chair, and I'll just let you guys do song requests. God, you guys are awful.
The idea of professionally helping people that desperately needed her help. She lived in a rental home with her boyfriend, who was 18 years old.
That.
His name was
I'm
Ryan
probably gonna
Waller,
do something like that.
And amongst other things, he was a huge gun enthusiast and a student. That year, the couple had made plans to visit Ryan's father, Don, on Christmas Day, so on December 25th. But when the day came and Don had made dinner for the couple and was expecting them, they didn't show up. And so Don tried contacting both of them, but when he couldn't, he just had a bad feeling that something was off. It was just very uncharacteristic of them to just no-show. But instead of driving over to their property himself, Don just called the local police and asked them to do a welfare check. The police arrived at the house in Desert Hills, Arizona. They knocked on the door, but there was no answer. They looked in the windows and some lights were on, but it was mostly dark inside, and they couldn't really tell from the car in the driveway if that belonged to the homeowners or somebody else. And so they stood there for a second. They're looking in the windows. There's no movement. They knock again while simultaneously calling out that, hey, we're the police. We're here to do a welfare check. Just want to make sure you guys are okay. And this time, after they were done knocking, they heard the deadbolt unlock, and then the door swung inward into the house. And standing right in front of them was Ryan. Ryan had this huge bruise on his left eye, this big black eye, and he had a cut on his nose. And he was just standing there, not saying anything, not asking any questions, just looking at them. And they looked past Ryan into his house. house, and they saw there was a woman lying on the couch, which they presumed was his girlfriend Heather, because that was the two people they were coming to look for. And so they turned their attention back to Ryan, and they asked him, what happened to your eye? And Ryan was a little bit cagey. He didn't really give them a straight answer. He basically said, I don't know. I don't know what happened to my eye. And, the police didn't really pry that much, but eventually they determined that Ryan was more or less okay, albeit a little bit strange. And then they said, okay, well, who's the woman who's lying on the couch? Is that Heather? And Ryan, again, was kind of cagey and a little bit dismissive and said something along the lines of, she's just sleeping. And so the police said to him, look, we're here on a welfare check. Your father sent us here to check on you guys. And so we have to go in there and wake her up and make sure she's okay. And so Ryan, again, was just a little bit weird and kind of defensive and didn't really immediately comply, but eventually did step out of the way. And the police walked into the residence. They walked over to the couch. And as soon as they looked down at the girl on the couch, which was Heather, they saw right away that she was not asleep. She was dead. And she had been for at least a couple of days. She had died from a single gunshot wound to the head. Immediately, Ryan was arrested and brought out to a squad car. He didn't fight the arrest, but he did emphatically say he didn't know what was going on. He didn't understand what was happening. He didn't know what happened to Heather. He just seemed kind of generally confused. But regardless, he was thrown in the back of the police car outside the property, and he would sit there for several...
How does no one... What? No one? Did he just stay there? Stay the night? A couple nights just hanging out? No one? Okay. I mean, honestly, I say that. I say no one, and I'm thinking about it. If I died, say I died, okay? I'm trying to think. How would this work? Basically, if all of, me and my wife died, no one would know. Because no one really comes here. No one comes to my house, ever. Ever. No, I mean, we get calls. No, actually, no. No, people would find out pretty quick. Because Amy talks to her mom sometimes. Yeah. No, yeah, no. No, I don't, yeah, no, yeah, no, yeah, no, that, yeah, no, that's, yeah, no, yeah.
Hours while more and more police and paramedics arrived to process the crime scene and also to transfer Heather's body to a morgue. Finally, around 5 a.m. on December 26th, the police brought Ryan, who was still in the back of this police car, to the Phoenix police station for questioning. The interrogation that followed, this hour-long interrogation that was all filmed, would start off relatively normally, but it would quickly devolve into this totally bizarre back and forth between Ryan and the detective who was questioning him. And then at the end of the interrogation...
Wait. Hair reveal. Oh God. All right. I need to slow-mo that.
There would be this stunning revelation.
What's that?
From this point until the end of today's video, we're going to be showing you clips from the actual interrogation. When you get to the end of this video and you hear the revelation, and trust me, you will not miss it, I would encourage you to then go back and watch the clips of the interrogation, or just go online and watch the entire interrogation, because it's totally mind-blowing watching this thing, knowing what's really going on. In the video, Ryan is led into this sort of nondescript, small interrogation room at 5:08 a.m. on December 26th.
Everywhere.
So he's just arrived at the station. They put him in this room. He's wearing this white jumpsuit that might have been issued by police. Maybe he owned it, but it definitely looks more like prison attire. He's got no shoes on, no socks on, and his hands are not cuffed. And so he walks into the room and he sits down in the chair that's in the back corner of the interrogation room. And this chair is right next to this table. And then on the other side of this table is another chair. And so Ryan sits down in the corner. He's kind of facing out towards the middle of the room. He's quiet. He's basically not moving. And then at some point, he notices there is a handcuff that's connected to this table. Now, in some cases, the police would handcuff the person they were interviewing in this room.
His face, yeah,
but in this case,
black eye.
Ryan was not told that he needed to put this handcuff on. He was uncuffed. So there was no directive that he needed to have this handcuff on.
Okay.
After handcuffing himself to this table, Ryan turns and puts his arms over this table, and he lays down, puts his head in his arms, and he lays that way for about 5 minutes. Periodically, he makes a few groaning sounds, but for the most part, he's quiet. And then all of a sudden, as he's laying there, he suddenly makes a fairly loud moaning sound, and he stands up in his chair like he's going to walk out of the room, but as soon as he starts to walk away, the handcuff stops him. The handcuff that he was not told to put on. And so he's stuck against this table, but he doesn't seem fazed by it. He looks almost confused by what's happening, but he doesn't dwell on it for very long. Instead, he just reaches across the table and grabs a blank piece of paper, and then he just sits back down in the seat, he crosses his legs, and he starts looking at this piece of paper. At 5:17 a.m., so roughly 9 minutes into this interrogation, which really hasn't even started yet, Ryan is intently looking at this blank piece of paper when a detective walks into the interrogation room. This detective was named Dalton, and he informs Ryan that they're going to be taking pictures of his feet, and so he needs to put his feet up on the table that's right next.
Wait, what? I didn't know the cops were into that shit. Feet? God, first glasses guy, now the cops? We love feet. No. Glasses guy does. Glasses guy did the interrogation. Let's see if he has glasses. Chat, because remember, the character, these glasses are what enjoy the feet. If someone's wearing these glasses, they can't stop but love the feet. It's a curse.
Next to him. Ryan at first acts very confused and doesn't really understand
the feet
what's
are the murder
but
weapon.
He eventually complies and he puts his feet up on the table.
Close your eyes. Close your eyes, chat.
Another officer walks into the interrogation room, and he's got a camera and he's got this big kit with him, and he would begin about a 10-minute long process.
Lift him up a little bit. There you go. What is happening? What is happening?
Of photographing Ryan's feet and also swabbing Ryan's feet. During this 10-minute session, Dalton stays in the room, and so Ryan periodically asks him if he can just leave and go home, seemingly unaware of how serious this situation really was for him. And when Dalton would tell him, "No, you can't leave," Ryan would act totally frustrated
before I showed them my
angry and
feet.
upset, kind of like how a child would act if they were told they couldn't have something they really wanted to. At 5:28 a.m., after this 10-minute session is complete and they've photographed and swabbed Ryan's feet, the second officer leaves the room, and Dalton shuts the door behind him, and then he walks over to the table and he grabs the chair on the other side from Ryan. He drags it out so it's closer to Ryan, and then he sits down and introduces himself. After that, he begins asking Ryan some very basic questions. He asks him to confirm his name, which he does. He asks him to confirm his date of birth and his social security number, and Ryan does both those things. And then he asks Ryan if he understands why he was there, why he was being interrogated. And Ryan says no. And so at this point, Dalton says, okay, let's just stop right now. I'm going to read you your rights. And so it's at this point in the interrogation that Ryan's behavior starts to get really, really weird. After Dalton tells Ryan he needs to read him his rights, you can see Ryan doesn't compute what he's saying. He's just kind of looking blankly, and Dalton seems to pick up on that. And so he tries to make it kind of lighthearted, and he says, hey, Ryan, I'm going to read you your rights like they do on TV, like on Cops and on Law and Order and CSI, any of those crime shows, they read people their rights. That's what I'm going to do. You know what I'm talking about? And Ryan just goes, no. And Dalton's kind of confused. He's like, you haven't seen any cop show where they read people their rights? And at this, Ryan kind of changes his behavior. And suddenly he's not as robotic. He's a little bit defensive looking. And he says, oh, yeah, I have, yeah. At this, it's pretty obvious to Dalton that Ryan is lying about something that is totally insignificant, whether or not he's seen true crime TV shows. It really just didn't matter at all. And there's this weird hesitation where both of them are just kind of being quiet for a minute. It's like Dalton knows he's lying about it, and Ryan just seems totally confused. And then ultimately, Dalton just decides to not key in.
Like, I'm assuming, like, he probably just saw, like, his dead girlfriend, right? And he's just, like, traumatized from it. Like, he just saw it, maybe? Or he walked in on it. Like,
Ryan on this kind of weird lie that Ryan has just told. Instead, he just reads Ryan his rights. And then
why is his face beaten up? I have no idea.
Basic questions.
Maybe he did it himself.
Was, hey Ryan, what was the highest grade you achieved in school? And now at this point, Ryan is not looking at Dalton. He's looking to the far side of the room. He's got this blank expression on. And when he's asked this question, he just says, I don't know. And Dalton's like, you don't know what level grade you achieved in school? And Ryan says, no, I don't know. Eighth grade. So again, he's changed his answer fairly abruptly when he's challenged. And so
Maybe
Dalton
his
is
feet
probably
did it
thinking
out
to
of
himself
his
that
control, so he's
lying
helpless.
again.
Watching
But again,
Pete commit the
it's
crime.
just kind of an
No feet, please. They become too strong.
significant thing, but it's building a pattern of mistrust here. It's hard for Dalton to believe that Ryan is going to be truthful if he can't even tell the truth about things that don't matter. But Dalton decides not to fixate on it. Instead, he asks a follow-up question based on the fact that Ryan has said 8th grade is the highest level he achieved. And so Dalton says, okay, well, did you get your GED? A GED is a high school diploma equivalent, and it's something you would get if you did
real
not
photo of a GED? No, it's not. That's fake. That's fake. Nope, that's not real.
graduate high school. And since 8th grade is below high school, then Ryan clearly did not finish high school. And so it's a natural question to ask. The answer to this question is binary. You have a GED, you don't have a GED. But Ryan's answer is anything but binary. It's totally contradictory and weird, and it really begins to show a side of Ryan that just doesn't add up. He's acting totally weird.
Do you have a
Yeah, where's the
GED?
Steven detective at? He would crack him easily.
You don't know what?
I don't know. I don't know. I just want to go home.
Oh, you're not going to go home right now.
So what?
What's the highest grade that you completed?
B?
No. Not grade, as in letter grade.
The fuck?
I'm asking, did you graduate high school?
No.
And the highest you
Just,
went was 8th
why'd you
grade?
do it?
Mm.
Smile. That's what I'm saying. He's acting like a kid when they're like pouting. No. B? I don't know, man.
Yep.
Do you know how to read and write, Ryan?
Yeah.
No.
After the discussion about Ryan's education goes
We're laughing at
nowhere,
this, then he's
Dalton
gonna end up
again
being
does not fixate on
the
all
one
the
who killed
issues
her.
with his answers so far, and instead just kind of continues asking more questions. And so he begins to address Heather. He starts by asking Ryan if he has a girlfriend. Now, Dalton at this point would know that Heather, the girl who was deceased, was Ryan's girlfriend because the police were asked to do the initial welfare check on Ryan and Heather, the couple. That's something that
Did you
Dawn
get the
would have
cookie,
relayed
Ryan?
to police.
Did you get the
and so
cookie?
Dalton knows they have a relationship,
Why'd you
but
do it?
he wants Ryan to tell him he has a relationship with Heather.
We saw you with the dead body. Why?
So again, he asks Ryan, do you have a girlfriend? And Ryan says no, which is a lie. But Dalton goes along with it and says, okay, well, do you know a girl named Heather? And Ryan would say, yes, I do. But his description of Heather was just completely inaccurate. He said Heather was a 16 or 17-year-old girl, even though she was actually 21. And he would say her last name was Kyman. He thought. He wasn't entirely sure. He said she has nicknames and she has different names she uses, but he believes it's
The
Kyman,
fuck is wrong
even
with
though
this guy?
her last name was actually Kwan.
Did he get
now,
brain
Dalton,
damage
of
from
course,
something?
is aware of these discrepancies, but again, he does not fixate on them. He just keeps on asking more questions. Dalton asks Ryan, what happened to your face? You have this huge bruise on the left side of your face. What happened? At first, Ryan says he doesn't know.
Why
But
do
when
you have a
Dalton
black
pressed him
eye?
and kept asking more and more questions about his face and how it happened, Ryan eventually would begin to open up.
What happened to your face?
I don't know.
You told the officer just a few minutes ago that someone hit you. Do you remember who hit you?
I don't know. I think it was Heather.
Why would Heather hit you?
I don't know. It was an accident. I forgot why.
Like the other police officers involved,
He has a very
Dalton
big black
believed
eye,
already
so-
going into this interrogation that Ryan
Oh.
killed Heather. That the bruise on his face was
Did you kill her? I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. God, can I go home? Did you kill her? I don't know, man. Maybe. I don't know.
Was from Heather fighting back before ultimately Ryan killed her. And so for Ryan to say the mark on my face is from Heather, even though he claimed it was an accident, to Dalton, that was the same thing as Ryan saying, I killed Heather. Dalton attempted to get more specific details about the actual physical struggle that took place between Ryan and Heather, but as he asked more and more questions, he became more and more aggressive, and it seemed like Ryan picked up on it and became very defensive and started throwing out random pieces of information, much of which seemed untrue. Like he suggested there was at least 2 or 3 other people that were in the house on the night that Heather got killed, but it's unclear if these people were real or if they were actually ever there. And it just seemed like Ryan was kind of panicking and just kind of saying all sorts of random things. And so at some point, Dalton just wants to focus the conversation because he feels like it's getting totally out of hand. And so he just stops Ryan and he says, Ryan, there is a dead girl in your house and I need information.
Hey, Ryan?
Huh? Huh?
There's a dead girl in your living room.
She's dead?
Yes.
Heather?
I don't know. I want to know what happened.
Officer, my tummy hurt. Can we do this tomorrow?
The girl on the couch is dead?
I don't know. If she's on the couch, she's dead.
The interesting thing about Ryan's reaction to being told by Dalton for the first time in the interrogation that there was a dead girl in his house is Ryan reacted with genuine surprise. It's the only time in the entire interrogation, start to finish, where Ryan sits forward in his chair, he kind of perks up, and he seems relatively normal. He's not acting confused and kind of bizarre. It's like he's really dialed in, as if he had not heard this before, that he didn't know Heather was dead, and he's now for the first time being told, and it shocked his system. But just seconds after he sits forward and seems really engaged, he goes back to kind of being totally bizarre, and he also suddenly had this really elaborate story about what happened to Heather, even though just seconds ago it seemed like he had just learned about it. So it didn't really make any sense that he would have a story so readily available for something he seemed to not know anything about. And of course, like all of his other answers, his story he gave was full of contradictions and holes and was just totally unbelievable.
Well, these people came over, Richie and his dad, with shoot and arrow, bow and darts. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
They hit me and her with those. That's it.
They hit you and... They hit you?
Yeah.
Now it's Richie that hit you, not Heather?
No, Richie and his dad.
Richie and his dad. They hit you.
Yes.
What the fuck?
Why?
Because they're trying to get their stuff. I don't know why.
And they had some kind of bow and arrows?
Mm-hmm. They each had 2 revolvers and they didn't let off any shells.
Okay, you just said they had bow and arrows. Now they have...
So did they, like, beat the shit out of him thinking he died? I'm wondering if that happened.
Revolvers?
That's what I meant. They had revolvers.
They had revolvers?
Yes.
And then what happened?
And then they shot us with those.
Following this exchange...
Oh my god, they shot us! Like, oh my god, how do you not get it? Jesus. Bow and arrows are actually revolvers.
Ryan would change his story again and would say, actually, they didn't shoot me, they just shot Heather, they put me in a sleeper hold. But when Dalton asked him, what do you mean sleeper hold? Ryan said, oh, I don't know what a sleeper hold is. And then eventually Ryan would actually just ditch the sleeper hold narrative and go back to the Richie and his father. They came in and they shot both of us. At this point, Ryan's story has become so convoluted and it's changed so many times that it's just totally unbelievable. And so Dalton, who was doing his best to kind of go along with Ryan's story, at this point just can't even pretend anymore. He cannot.
Yeah, they came in and tried to kill us, and they probably killed Heather. Probably, I don't know. Jeez, my tummy hurts. Can we do this another time?
Pretend that he's following the story. It doesn't make any sense.
You're telling me you're all over the board here. Number one, you're saying bows and arrows, you're saying revolvers, and you're saying some other thing, and you're saying they shot you in the eye. Okay? They shot you with a revolver in your eye.
Yes. And that's
Is it a BB gun?
No, it was a real gun, man. It was just a
If
revolver.
they shot you in the eye with a revolver, you wouldn't be talking to me right now.
How do you know?
No, I got shot. How do you know? How do you know? How do you know I wouldn't be alive? Huh? How do you know?
It was most likely you be dead.
That's what I thought too, man. I really don't know.
So you got shot first?
Uh-huh.
And what happened? Did you fall to the ground?
Yeah, I was trying to get up and I couldn't.
I'm so
I
confused.
don't know.
And then she
How do you know if you got shot in the head with the revolver? You know, like maybe I didn't die. Ever think about that?
got shot?
Mm-hmm.
What did you do?
Nothing.
Did you call 911? Did you see if she was alive?
She was sleeping still, and that's it. I just let her sleep.
She got shot in the side of the face, and you let her sleep?
Yes.
Dude, he definitely must have had either shock or some sort of brain damage. Like,
Does not make sense, Ryan.
After this
I
exchange,
feel bad for
Dalton
him.
just goes full
I
bad
feel like-
cop on Ryan, openly accusing him of shooting and killing Heather.
I feel like he didn't
and
do it.
Ryan just continues to say he doesn't
Maybe he
know
did. I
anything,
don't
that
know.
he didn't do it, and his answers are just totally
If he
nonsensical.
didn't do
and
it, I feel really
contradictory,
bad
and
for the
nothing
guy.
is making sense. And so finally, at 5:52 a.m., roughly 45 minutes into this interrogation,
God damn, it's
Dalton
so
is just at a
early in the
loss. He
morning.
does not know how to handle Ryan, because even though he really believes he did it, nothing Ryan has said has incriminated him, because nothing Ryan has said makes any
You will
sense.
feel really
And so he's
bad?
sitting there kind of thinking what
Okay.
he's going to do next, and then Dalton notices something. He notices something on Ryan's face. He tells Ryan to come closer. He needs to look at it.
Let me see your nose. Put your legs down. Put your legs down. Bring your face closer.
Oh, my head hurts.
Okay. Yeah, be right back.
There's a bullet in there, isn't it? He survived a bullet wound, didn't he?
What Dalton had finally just discovered were 4 bullet holes in Ryan's face.
How do you miss that? What? How do you miss that, though? Dude, wait. Where are we at? 2110? All right, ready? 2110.
At the end of today's story, a lot of you are going to be shaking your head, wondering how in the world could they have missed that? But
He got me. The son of a bitch got me. The son of a bitch got me. All right.
in Ryan's face and head. Ryan had committed no crime. He was a victim the same way Heather was a victim, but somehow Ryan had survived the attack. On December 23rd,
damage,
so
yeah.
2 days before the welfare check, 2 men attempted to break into Ryan and Heather's house. They were 23-year-old
He with
Richie
the
Carver
revolver.
and his 54-year-old father, Larry Carver, the same Richie and Richie's father that Ryan had mentioned during the interrogation. They were there because of an altercation that had occurred between Richie and the couple about a month earlier. During that time, Richie was actually living with Ryan and Heather, but apparently he began hitting on Heather, and Heather told Ryan, and Ryan got really mad about it, and
Jesus.
Ryan and Richie got in this big fight, and ultimately Ryan kicks Richie out of the house. Now, this totally infuriates Richie and is very embarrassing for Richie, and so right away he begins
Dude, he was actually right. He's like, obviously if you got shot in the face, you wouldn't be here. How do you know? Right? He was actually right the whole time. Oh my God.
plotting his revenge. And
This
so
is
on
crazy.
December 23rd, Richie and his father, they were there to carry out this revenge plot. When the father and son got to the back of Ryan and Heather's house, Ryan saw them at the back door through the glass door that was near their kitchen, and he ran over to try to stop them from getting inside. But Richie and Larry managed to barely get open the door, and Richie reached in with his hand, which was carrying a gun, and he shot Ryan point blank twice in the
Jesus
face.
Christ.
The first bullet went in through his nose and then out the other side of his nose, so that's the first 2 bullet holes. And then that bullet traveled back into his head through his left eye into his brain where it got lodged. And along with the bullet, 6 pieces of his skull that broke off from this bullet went inside of his brain as well. So that's the first 3 bullet holes. And then the second bullet that was fired into Ryan's head hit the side of his head. It did not penetrate into his skull. So the bullet didn't lodge anywhere inside of his brain. However, it did break off a piece of his skull. And so that was the 4th
I
bullet
knew
hole.
it.
Ryan
I
dropped to the
knew it was brain damage. I knew it.
ground. He was unconscious. They assumed he was dead. They managed to force the door the rest of the way open. They stepped inside.
Wow.
They stepped over Ryan's body.
That's so
and they
fucked
walked
up.
into the living room where Heather was cowering on the sofa, and Richie just immediately walked up, put a gun to her head, and fired a single shot. After she had fallen to the ground, the 2 men stole some things in the house and then fled the scene. They would ultimately get caught, and they're both currently serving life sentences. It's believed Heather died instantly from her gunshot wound.
Yeah, I
but
don't
Ryan
understand
did-
how, like, they, like, how, I don't know. How do you look at him and be like, hey, let's interrogate the guy when he has a huge black eye and a hole in his nose? Let's interrogate him. Maybe get him fixed up first.
Didn't. At some point, maybe a couple of hours after he was shot, he woke up, but he had severe brain damage and he wouldn't have known what was going on. He didn't really know what happened. And he saw his girlfriend, Heather, lying on the couch, but he thought she was just sleeping. And so he too went to his bedroom and he fell asleep. But the next morning, he woke up and he still would have had no idea what was going on. And he spent the day on the 24th just kind of wandering around his house with his girlfriend lying dead on the couch. And so after a full day of just kind of mindlessly walking around his house, he went back to bed, and then he got up on Christmas Day on the 25th and spent another day just kind of walking about his house with his girlfriend, who he believed was sleeping, but really she was dead. And so finally the welfare check is called in, the police show up, and as soon as they see Ryan, they jumped to conclusions that he must have killed Heather, and it kind of dictated the way they treated him. Had they believed he was a victim, they might have sought medical attention for the wound on his face.
But, like, the thing is, I don't get it, because I feel like regardless, like, they should look at him first. Especially if he was talking like that. You have to assume he's injured to some extent. Like, if he's talking, like, weird like that and not making any sense. Like, you have to be like, okay, maybe we should get him checked out first.
But again, jumping to conclusions and assuming he was the killer, they figured that bruise on his face was from the woman fighting back. She had struck him before he had
A bruise that huge? The bruise is like the size of his head.
savagely killed her.
Size of
and
his
so they
head.
didn't give him any medical care. Instead, they put him out in the cop car out front of the property, and he sat there with no medical intervention for 6 hours. And during those 6 hours, literally every second that went by, there was irreversible brain damage being caused because he had all this bleeding inside of his head that was causing brain damage. And so the clock was ticking as soon as they found him, and for hours and hours.
How do you interrogate him for an hour and not notice? Dude, how?
And hours, he got no
6
care
hours.
and was just getting worse and worse and worse. And so finally, he goes to the police station, and again, they do not give him any medical care. Instead, they interrogate him for almost 2 hours, even though he has 4 bullet holes on his face that apparently no one noticed or no one took seriously. But regardless, he spent those almost 2 more hours in the interrogation room, where every second that's going by, his brain is getting more and more destroyed, irreparably destroyed. And then finally, at the end of the interrogation, Dalton, who's probably thinking to himself, what is wrong with this guy? His answers don't make any sense. He's all over the place. And that's when he stepped back from looking for a way to convict this guy and noticed the holes on his face, specifically the hole in his nose. And that's when he called him forward and he looked at his face and he realized a huge mistake had been made and he called an ambulance. Here is a clip of the fire department who arrived ahead of the ambulance in the interrogation room learning about what's happened to Ryan as they wait for the ambulance.
Hi guys. Hey guys.
Okay, but why did they take a picture of his feet?
Captain, you're not going to believe this one.
I can't believe it either.
You're right. I've already heard the story. I can't believe it. This is just my observations that this might be an entrance, this might be an exit, this might be into
Footsteps in the house?
And he's
I guess it makes sense. No, it's because sexy feet, that's why.
It would make sense.
Ryan was ultimately rushed to the hospital where he would undergo emergency surgery that would save his life, but it would come at a great cost. They not only had to remove a large portion of his brain, but they also had to remove both of his eyes. Now, it should be noted that at least one other source says he only had his left eye removed, but regardless, after this surgery, Ryan was no longer independent. He had so much brain damage, he couldn't take care of himself, and so he had to move back in with his parents, who became his full-time caretakers. And then 10 years later, Ryan would die from a seizure that was directly connected to the injuries he sustained from that attack, and it's connected to the lack of care he received in those first critical 8 hours after the police found him. The Phoenix Police Department, after this mishandling of Ryan's case went public, they did an internal investigation, but no one was ever disciplined, at least not publicly. As for Ryan's family, they certainly could have filed a lawsuit against the Phoenix Police Department, but they chose not to. They said the only thing we want is our son back, and a lawsuit will not give us that. So that's gonna do it, guys. If you
but a lawsuit will give you a lot of money to like help you take care of him. Man. When do cops ever get disciplined? I know, right? Come on, dude. Like that. I feel like that's basic procedure, is it not? Regardless of what your assumptions are, the basic procedure, make sure the person you are about to interrogate is mentally there and okay health-wise before you start interrogating him. Is that not like regular shit that they do? They have to go to the hospital first. They did with school shooters. Like what? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like they do it with people who are completely fine. They take them to the hospital to make sure they're okay first. Jesus. How did the detective not know? Oh man, I'm so mad about that. That's so stupid. I'm angry. I'm angry. I'm angry. Oh, well, there you have it. Depressing story. All right, chat. I got to run another ad. If you don't want ads, please subscribe. All right, now that all those freaking non-subbed losers are gone. Idiots, am I right? Idiots. Dumb. I'm not sub still here. Shit. Yeah. It was yeah, you're cool. You're cool. You're all right. He called me a loser and then bam, ad. Good.
Now it's time to walk away. I hope you enjoyed your stay. Did you laugh or cry or maybe subscribed? I'll thank you either way. You know I will miss you. I hope you return. Tell your friend or your mother to get me more views, please.